Welcome, music fam, to this week's Music Talk podcast. I am Victor, your music mentor. Look, before we move on, make sure you get a chance to subscribe to our channel, like us on Facebook, or you can follow us on Instagram. Or you can go right to our website, www.sanctifiedsound.org. Hey, at the end of this, make sure that you stick around because we're going to give you some information that is going to change your life forever. All right, so come on back and we'll dive right in with our first guest. Welcome, music fam, to this week's episode of the Music Talk podcast. I am sitting here, well, not sitting here, but we're on a Zoom call with one of my favorite people on the planet. This is Miss Avis. We have a ball talking. I had to do this one. So, Miss Avis, what's going on? How are you?
Hi, Victor, my favorite producer. I'm doing great. What about yourself?
Doing well. Just happened to have you here. Just doing this little interview and everything. So we're just gonna, just talk a little bit and everything.
Okay.
So, how's everything going? How are you doing with music and everything? I know you just put out a project.
Just released another project.
Mm-hmm.
Entitled I Am Sure.
Yeah.
Very, very excited about this. Usually God keeps me within the praise and worship frame.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started writing for this one and getting the music together for this, it kind of detoured a little bit and it kind of carried me out of my zone. But I'm excited about it. Just waiting on some final things through CD Baby so they can go ahead and load it up and people can go on and load it down. They can get it from our website, but we just can't get it, in iTunes and all of that until we iron out.
Well, maybe by the time this airs, everything will be great and everything. So
correct.
Yeah, but you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, to the people that don't know you.
All right. So my name is Avis Bickham. I was born here in Baton Rouge. We lived here for about 9 months. And then my parents moved to Detroit, Michigan. Mm-hmm. And so I was raised there for 12 years. And so my journey kind of started in the basement of Detroit, Michigan, listening to Michael Jackson.
Absolutely. The GOAT.
It's like, ABC and all it is, and so it was the norm to be in the basement singing and dancing, and so after I made 12 years old, then we moved back here home to Baton Rouge, and my first time ever being in a church. It was at the age of 12 when we moved back here. My mom was scared, of hooking up with a wrong church in Detroit. So, but she, put the word in us, reading to us nightly from the Bible.
Real quick, where do you think that came from to be, scared to put you into a wrong church? Like, what do you think that particular thing came from?
Probably just hearing the wrong things, the things that came on the radio was at that time, and I'm proud I can say this, if not, you're going to have to edit it out. But, Reverend Ike was big back at the time, that time, and so, she just didn't want to get us caught up in the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? She was raised in church all of her life, and so it's being in Detroit, it carried her out of the norm. Mm-hmm. I could say, she was used to one, setting, the Baptist church, Holiness Church. And so when she moved to Detroit, there was nobody there to guide her to say, okay, this is the church, you could go to and be safe.
Right.
And so she, she just didn't do it, But like I said, she instilled in us godly principles, and she made sure that she read, the word, to us. on a regular basis, right?
Did y'all have those like little devotions and stuff like that at home? Because I know my mom did that with us, you know.
I don't know if you had this. It was the Bible storybook. You know, it's a big, thick book, and it had all. I mean, it went from Exodus, to Revelations, and it had the pictures in it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I remember that. Like that was.
And so, I mean, it put it where we could reach, for it and grasp it and get it.
Right.
And so, and so those were our, our moments, of getting the word in us, So yeah.
Let me tell you, my mom used to, what she did, like it didn't matter what we was doing, eating, watching TV. I was a big wrestling fan back then. And I would hear my mom on our little rickety piano playing this song, "Soon and Very Soon We Are Going to See the King." And that was like one of the only songs that she could play. But as soon as she played that song, it's like we had to shut everything down and go convene in the living room because we about to have devotion. It's like, oh man,
right.
Part.
Yeah. I mean, she taught us the Our Father prayer, Psalms, and so, like I say, although we didn't go to church, she instilled the things of God in us. Yeah. So, that was great.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so, are those the same principles that you live by today?
Definitely. As a matter of fact, she won't let us not live by them.
I know, right?
To us regularly, on a regular basis.
Right. So what church did you end up going into?
So when we came back here, it was a family church. My grandfather was the head deacon, and so we wound up going there, and from the age, and that's where I could say felt the presence of the Lord. Yeah. We was attending Sunday school, and one day I remember the late Reverend Henry Glasper, he was preaching, and something just pierced my heart. I couldn't explain it. I had never felt it before, but I just remember going home and telling my mother, okay, I'm ready to be baptized now. Wow. And so it was like, okay, well, we never talked about baptism, but okay. And at that time, the way, is not, at that time, you had to go to the mourner's bench. And so I am a mourner's bench.
Okay, so explain that for the people that don't know. Like what?
Okay, so they enter is during the ours was during the summertime.
Okay.
And because you had to isolate yourself.
Like we're doing now.
So yeah, like we're doing now. and so what you do, you tell tell the pastor you want to be baptized, and so you have to go through like a 2-week ordeal, and so you go home. You don't the way my mom had us doing it. We could come out to eat, but we couldn't go out to play. You had to literally stay in your room until you heard something, felt something, or saw something.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I remember, that first week, the only thing I would play would be gospel music, and I remember going to sleep and waking up, and I literally saw me taking my hand out the devil's hand and reaching, for the Lord's hand, and so. Now, every night you go to church during this 2-week process, you're going to church every night. It's a revival. And so if you saw something, heard something, or felt something, you had to stand up before the people and say, okay, I saw something. And it was called Tell Your Testimony. Your first time telling your testimony. And so, and that was it for me, Now, you still had, because it was probably about 10, 12 of us. So everybody had to get their own testimony, and then at the end of the 2 week, then that was your baptism, period.
Wow. And so the baptism back then wasn't just, hey, you just getting dunked in.
No, you knew.
Like what all went on back then, because I know it's completely different now.
Oh yeah, back then, you know, you had your white robe on, your hair was wrapped, your hair was wrapped, you know, and they sung the songs "Way to the Water," and you know, the baptism pool was in the back of the church.
Right. Right.
And so, you know, they take you, they dunk you, you know, and you know, a lot of people come out shouting and all of that, you know.
Right, just water everywhere. Just
right, correct. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So okay, so speak to how everything has changed. Well, before we get into that, like, what were your origins as far as, like, I know because you were doing music at that time as well, right?
Started after I got baptized. Then you could participate in the things in the church. Then.
So was that your first?
It was from what happened after being baptized. I started the first youth choir there at the church, and it was kind of crazy because I'd never played before. You know, piano.
Yeah.
And I wound up hearing my cousin, Dennis Russell. He's deceased as well. But I remember hearing him play and sing, and I went, whoa, you know. And so I told my mom, okay, I want to play the piano. I'd never been around a piano before.
Yeah.
But prior to that, what we started doing was I fell in love with Walter Hawkins, Tremaine Hawkins, the Hawkins family.
Right.
And so what I would have the choir do was we had a record player and we would put the record on because, you know, with no soundtracks back then.
Yeah.
And that's how I started the choir. We would sing along with them. And so from that, then it evolved into me playing the piano. And that's how all that got started. But from 12 to 18, and then at 18, I wound up going to Church Point Ministries, being on the praise and worship team. Mm-hmm. And I met my husband right before I went to Church Point Ministries, but then we started singing together. The late Kenneth Carr Douglas Sr., he's gone on to be with the Lord now. And we did our first recording, Enter In. Yeah. And then we did another recording called Spirit of Worship.
Wow.
And that's how it just snowballed from there, you know?
Yeah. What was the origin of I guess the spirit behind the first project?
The first project, I was leading praise and worship during one of the noonday services at Church Point Ministries. And we had a guy that would come in every time we had it. I didn't know he was a producer then. Wow. And he came in, and one day after praise and worship, he said, his name is Brian Carline, and he came to me. He said, the Lord spoke to me, and he told me to help you do a CD. And then he gave me his card that he was a producer, and that's how I learned who he was. And I mean, we just thought, I had already been writing, but I continued to write. At that time, we had a musician at the church called Diana Reeves, and she jumped on board and she started laying out all of the music. We went in the studio and we produced our first CD, and that's how that happened. Correct. Wow. Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, getting God putting you in the right positions.
Absolutely.
You know, and we don't think about often that it don't just happen. It doesn't just happen like out of the blue. God's been setting stuff up on both ends for years.
That's right.
That particular on point meeting. And so, you know, just speak to that whole thought process of understanding that, you know, that your life is not specifically just random events. I know we talked about it.
I think the first thing, Victor, I think being faithful where you are just kind of opens the door, to some things. And I think that's what happened in my case. You know, just being faithful of leading praise and worship. Sometimes there would only maybe be 5-6 people in the building.
Absolutely.
And I'm leading praise and worship. I'm not thinking about doing a recording. That's nowhere on my mind. I'm just doing what I've been asked to do at that time, and then it opens the door. And so I think, we have to be faithful, where we are, and do what you've been asked to do, not so much for man, but for the Lord. Absolutely. And when that happens, although you're working for the man, and
right.
when you do that, God just opens doors that you think that would never be open. Like I say, I never, you never know who's watching. You never know who's listening.
Right.
And it's just being faithful, I think. Yeah.
And I think sometimes too, because, one thing I just don't want to put God in a box either. Some things to us may feel like it's chance. And it feels like it's just coming out of the blue. Because I know me meeting you was a result of, it was a different encounter. It wasn't
correct
specifically because I had no clue who you were, when you came in, but I had been aware of you, but I just wasn't. I'd never really met you face to face before.
Right, and that was crazy in itself, because at the time I met you, I'm writing a song that won't go away.
Right.
And I'm like, God, what do you want me to do with this? I've been down this road where I have recorded, I spent thousands of dollars, and I can't go that route because I don't have it any, to spend like that. But you won't let this song go away. And I remember listening to Avis Mitchell.
Right.
And it just looked like every other week he was putting out new songs, and I'm like, how's this guy doing this, And so when I go to ask him about it, he tells me about you, and the ball just go to rolling. And it's crazy because I didn't have the money to do it, but when me and you sat down and talked, God gave me something that I could do to start, generating the money. And I didn't miss a payment.
Right.
You are paid in full.
Right.
and then I did a smaller project called Christmas with Avis first.
Okay.
It's Christmas time again. That's what it is.
Christmas time, yeah.
And then from that, because I said after the first song, I just said, okay, maybe God just want me to release a single. But after that, then we did Christmas time with Avis. No, it's Christmas time again.
Right.
And then that snowballed right into I Am Sure. So I'm just excited how God just, I think, orchestrates our steps. He orders our steps,
Absolutely.
And to make things happen,
So what's next for you? What do you see yourself? Let's say in about 5 to 10 years, where do you see Miss Avis Bickham?
Still recording, but teaching others about it, because it's a whole lot to this,
Yeah.
And opening doors.
Right. So as far as the ministry is concerned, do you see yourself traveling a lot, or preaching, or having your own church, or being a bishopess? I don't know.
No, I don't see the bishopess.
Because everything has to be segregated now. You have the male version and you have the female version.
No, I don't. I don't see that. No, I don't.
Right.
I think at some. I would like to say at some point, my husband and I, Minister T. Harvey Bickham now, we've been married for 18 years, and maybe, well, I do see us out ministering together. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could say it like that and be okay with that.
Okay. Yeah. But you, the individual, you would be more leaning towards more staying in the music vein of everything.
No, I do, because I do minister now. I do, go places every now and then and minister as well as sing. Yeah. And so doing that and like I say, being more of a teacher as far as teaching after you put the music out, what do you do?
Yeah.
You know, I would like to be in a position where I can open doors for new artists that's coming up, because, you know, I've been doing this, oh my goodness, since 1990, 99 or somewhere up in there.
Wow, that's when I got started.
Yeah, but it's hard to get the music out. You know, you got to be on.
Changed. It's like everything is changing.
Right.
It was different back then because there was internet, but not like this.
Not like this, right?
I mean, one thing that I know that a lot of people are not doing is hitting the streets as much as they should be. You know, not necessarily, hey, you got to stop everything and just do everything online.
Right.
You literally still have to hit the road.
Absolutely.
That has not changed.
Yeah, you have to get out there. You have to be a pusher of yourself. Mm-hmm. Before COVID-19 hit, I was making, you know, plans. Okay, I want to put some portfolios together. Mm-hmm. I want to go do women meetings, and stuff like that. And was on the book. Somebody had I had an engagement for that. And then, bam, COVID-19 hit, and then that just shut that down. And I'm like,
everybody.
Oh my gosh, you know, we would never have church as we know it today, no time soon. You know what I'm saying? It's like a rebuilding or remaking. And so just finding a new way to do this now, you know. Yeah,
I've been saying this on the podcast for a while. It's just that, you know, we have to come into this new normal. I was reading this article the other day, and this lady was, they said that she predicted all of this stuff. And so she was just saying, and this is something that I've been thinking about a long time, is that she said that, well, people ask, when would everything go back? Because they thinking she's this big prophet or whatever. And she said that it will never go back to the way that it was, because think about 9/11. 9/11 happened, and we still, I mean, we had other things that happened as a result of that. You know, I'm talking like world-changing type of events, and as far as wars and all of this other stuff, and we had to find what's called a new normal.
Right, correct.
Even at that point. So what do you think is going to happen now? Is that we're going to have to find a new normal, because it's not really going back to the way that it was before COVID hit. You know,
that's right. I think internet now will play a major role in everything we do and in all of our events. Now, crowds will gather, but I don't think it would gather like the masses. You know. Anymore, especially they really have to, you know, come up with the medicine or the way the vaccine or, you know, something that you know that can, you know, help calm everybody.
Right.
But internet, we just gonna have to find a way to make it work internet wise, you know, virtual.
It can. We just have to figure it out, and that's what entrepreneurs, you know, and especially recording artists have to figure that out.
Absolutely. So, you know, I've been seeing different secular artists. You know, they're doing, you know, virtual, you know, from home down. You know, free. You know, I'll let you in free.
Right.
And people go and buy the music afterwards. So, okay.
Absolutely.
All right. How can I do a virtual concert now?
Right. Or even be viable enough for folks to actually come and watch you perform, you know, because that's another thing too, is just figuring out how to promote and how to stay relevant during this time.
Absolutely.
Because what I believe is happening is to a certain degree is internet fatigue.
Yeah.
You know, people are getting tired of the internet because that's all you can do now. And so finding, you know, a new appreciation for outside, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, just a new appreciation for things that, you know, hobbies and stuff like that. We're rediscovering ourselves. Because,
absolutely.
You know, it's one thing to be on the internet, but it's another thing to have internet fatigue. So.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there are times I will, not open the computer.
Mm-hmm.
I won't even turn the TV on. I go outside, and I have my husband bought me a swing, and I just go out there and just swing.
I know, right?
And I could be out there for hours.
This is a long time. That's one thing that all of this is getting us to realize is rediscovering ourselves.
Yes.
And so I think that we're going to come out stronger on the other side of this.
Right.
For the people that's actually working to do that, because it's what's happening is two different types of people are going to come out of this. It's and I had this conversation on another podcast. It's the people that are producers and consumers.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are consumers, those are the ones that's just consuming content. They just like entertain me, but then you have the producers of the people that just can't stop producing stuff.
Right,
and so they're just finding different ways. Those are the entrepreneurs and the business people that's going to survive and thrive during this time. So,
right.
So, yeah. All right. So let's switch gears a little bit because I want to ask you some rapid fire questions and everything. I do this on every podcast and everything. So I'm gonna throw out some questions and everything and see what happens. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, what is the best advice that you've ever received?
Best advice will probably be yourself.
Yeah.
God made you the way He made you. Love yourself and just be yourself. When people met you, they met you. They met the real you. So don't try to go and cultivate yourself or reinvent yourself. Right. Hopefully. Right. Yeah. Just be yourself.
Right. I know sometimes we kind of come off as we want to be the wild and crazy us just so we can be attractive to people and stuff like that. And when people get to know the real you're completely different. It's just like, wait, hold up. Like, what happened? I just tell people no, that's the real person coming out. That doesn't change.
Right. Bishop Wallace teaches one thing, and he says it all the time to his ministers, is when people invited you to a certain thing, they were already impressed with you. So you don't have to go and try to impress anybody. They invited you because they were already impressed about who you were or who you are.
Yeah. Look, that's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So if you could go back and give your younger self advice, let's say about, 10, 15 years ago, what advice would you give yourself?
Go forward. Just go for it. If God put it in your heart to do it, do it. And don't be, don't let what other people say about you hinder you from doing or for being you. I had someone in my life at a very young age, a relative, and they called me stupid. And that thing carried over into my adulthood. So I always felt like, I was not good enough. And so I would always put others out front and I would step back behind. And I mean, I may have gotten delivered from that word stupid maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I would hear it. I would just hear it come up all the time. And I had to kill that, and it hindered me and it stopped me from at that time from doing some things that I felt like God had called me to do at that time, and so I would tell my younger me, go for it, and not to let what other people say about me hinder me or stop me from going forward.
Right. That's good advice. Yeah. A lot of people are in that position where they just don't understand. Even the parameters are different. They don't. It's a new environment, new situation that they just don't understand or know how to get into. So I definitely understand that. One more. If you had no constraints with time, money, or location,
Okay.
No constraints. You can do whatever you want to do.
All right.
What does the perfect day look like for you?
Gathering getting my husband with our children, our 5 children, our 9 grandchildren, our siblings, my parents, and going to a beach house and just spend the day or however long I could, week, 2 weeks, out enjoying my family.
Shout out to the people who do that for their family reunions. Like, the cookout and all of that stuff is cool. But go to the beach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Everybody can kind of do what they want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just bring Hawaii. Just bring Hawaii where you are.
Yes.
Luau or something like that.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
I have been so busy from the age really of 18, because at 18 I joined Church Point Ministries, and then later on 18 years later I joined where I am now, Oasis Christian Church. And I've been so busy in ministry, just working in ministry, until there was a point where, my family, we start now every night, all the siblings, we text each other. Wow. And we share an encouraging word every single night since this shutdown been going on.
Yeah.
And we are so excited about that. It's causing me to reconnect with my siblings, and we're having a great time. And so it's just a wonderful feeling. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I've just been so busy in ministry till this feels good right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This feels great.
Yeah. How can people get in contact with you?
They can email me at Bickham Place, BICKHAM PLACE @gmail.com. They can go to my website, Avis Marie Bickham .com.
Yeah. All one word. Word.
Right, AvisMarieBickham.com. And
you have Instagram or something?
Again?
You have Instagram or something?
I don't Facebook. And I have 2 Facebook accounts. I have Avis Marie Bickham, and then I have Avis Marie Music. And so, both Facebook as well.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this wonderful interview.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, this has been a blast. I got to get you back to to come back and awesome. We kind of chop it up again and see what happens. Our conversations last for hours, so I have to cut this one short. So Victor, have you on this schedule for your recording? Right? The first 30-40 minutes, it's gonna be talking. Oh yeah.
But we'll catch you up and get you ready.
Yes, indeed. All right. Once again, this is Victor, your music mentor, saying I will see you next week, and you all have a great day and enjoy yourselves. All right. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
A little over a year ago, I started doing podcasts to help recording artists learn the tools they need to be successful in the industry. And I was sitting with one recording artist, and I asked the question, why do you think people don't support Christian recording artists? You know what he told me? He said that people are always trying to take advantage of Christian artists. People have been known to say that artists shouldn't be paid to preach the gospel. It's free. Yeah, and to be fair, yes, it is free. They're 100% right. But the actual ministry, the duties that come with the ministry are not free. Matthew 10:10 says, for the laborer deserves his food. But this is the thing. My complaint is not with the audience. It's not with the event coordinator. My complaint is actually with the artists themselves. They haven't put into place a system to receive the payment that they deserve. You can't blame a chef for not feeding you if you come to him hungry without a plate, right? So, and you can't blame the event coordinator to ask you to do events and you don't set up a system for payment. I'm not just talking about PayPal or some swipe card machine. I'm talking about creating a funnel for any and everyone to go through just to book your services, but it ends with a system of payment. Every artist needs to add this to their system in their business. It's a simple process. Let's go through it. First, start doing free events. I know, I just said that free events are the problem. Well, sometimes to get to the solution, you gotta go through the problem. And this is key to the process. So first, start doing free events. Secondly, stop doing free events. I know, confusing. Look, let me explain. Usually when we go to an event and you do a great job, people are always asking you to come and do their event. And what do we say? Yeah, sure. No problem. I'll come to your event. What's the time and the place? Boom, and that's it. We set it up and we're done. We do that because we're so desperate for a shot that we'll take on any show that will have us and then complain because you didn't get paid or people don't support Christian artists. Problem is that as business people, we never set up a funnel for people to go through that actually leads to a payment. So try this instead. Sure, I'd love to come to your event and be a blessing. Tell you what, go to my website at suchandsuch.com and fill out the booking request form. We'll review it and make sure it doesn't conflict with any other events, and we'll get back to you and let you know if we can be there or not, okay? So this is key because at the end of the booking request on your website, remember you have to have a website for this to work. There's a payment option with your price. Now sometimes it can actually be on the website and other times it'll link off to another page. But if they are serious and you're reasonable with your price, then they will gladly pay you. If not, then you've weeded out an event that was actually trying to take advantage of you. And lastly, work those inquiries. And when you have exhausted all of them, start doing more free events to start the whole process all over again. And you'll see your ministry start to prosper and people start to actually take you seriously and actually start to respect you. You know, I've been told early in my career that you must teach people how to treat you. So, I'm telling you the same thing. Teach people how to treat you. Hey, we look forward to seeing you real soon, so be sure to connect with us on social media. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. You can also check out our YouTube page or simply visit our website just to see what new and exciting things are happening in a city near you. Everything is in the description box below, so go and check it out, okay? See you soon.